Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning Blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and today we're going to talk about a not so fun topic, but it is a new report that's just come out of GAO on improper payments for fiscal year 2023. So since 2003, 20 years, the cumulative improper payment estimates from the executive branch agencies estimate about 2.7 trillion with a T dollars. And obviously the goal of the federal government is to reduce improper payments because that's obviously your tax dollars not being used for what we want them to, right? And so they have been reporting on improper payments, the GAO, as part of their oversight of the federal government. And most of these represent either material weaknesses or other significant deficiencies in internal controls where payments are being made, but the review and approval process clearly is not working. And so obviously the estimate is not a complete estimate. We'll talk a little bit about why that is when we get into some of the data. But on March 26th of 2024, they issued their report, GAO 24-106927, Improper Payments Information on Agencies Fiscal Year 2023 Estimates. And again, this is what the federal agency is providing. And House Report 117389, which accompanied the legislative branch appropriations for 2023, requires GAO to provide reports on improper payments. And so this is GAO's fifth report with respect to this requirement here, and it provides an estimate of the 2023 payments. So when we say improper payment, what do we mean? It's those that should not have been paid at all, right? The person was ineligible, the entity was not eligible, or they were made in an incorrect amount, typically overpayments of the amount that this person was entitled to. And when you take a look, here are the different types of improper payments. And as you can see, right, overpayments is $175 billion of the estimated $236 billion in 2023. So it is 74%. Unknown payments, where we don't know what the payments were for, was $44.6 billion. Now, underpayments are just as bad. So those people aren't getting what they're supposed to in terms of payments. So that's another 11.5 billion. And then technically improper payments of 4.6 billion. So again, 2.7 trillion over the last 20 years, but 2023 had 236 billion all on its own. Now that is a little bit less than last year, but still obviously not appropriate. But what's really interesting is that this is a report of about 14 agencies from the federal government across 71 programs, right? So 71 programs, 14 agencies, but 5 make up the largest percentage, about 186 billion, or about 79% of all of the improper payments come from 5 programs. So we know where the problems are when we look at it, right? So big ticket items, as you can go here, obviously, when we go to 22% comes from Medicare, right? So either the fee for service or prescription. Another 21% is all other programs, right? Just to kind of give you percentages. Medicaid is $50 billion. Pandemic unemployment, $43.6 billion. People received unemployment to which they were not entitled. Earned income credit, $21.9 billion. And then our favorite Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness, $18.7 billion. Now, what's very interesting, of the $236 billion, that does not include programs such as TANF, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, because HHS cannot make an estimate of how much they have made in improper payments. And it also does not include improper payments from the Office of Public and Indian Housing Tenant based rental assistance and the Office of Multifamily Housing Project-based rental assistance. And so it could be even more as we go through this. So DHHS has said that they are unable to make an estimate. However, those programs have been determined to be susceptible to significant improper payments. And so again, we know this is the estimate. Again, they're not actuals, they're estimates, but we're missing some pretty large dollars here as well. So the Payment Integrity Information Act of 2019 and OMB Memorandum 2119 include criteria for how does the executive branch make these estimates. And not all of them comply. So we are up in 2021, only 10 agencies provided information. We're at 14 in fiscal year 22 and 23. But the keys to this is really improving internal controls. Right, so we really need people to improve their internal controls. And if they're not compliant in providing progress, obviously it's usually inadequate risk assessment or unreliable estimates that were identified. So that's where your tax dollars are going in terms of totals, as you can tell. Now, obviously, that's a small, relatively small value compared to the size of the federal budget. But it's important to note that that's obviously someone's hardworking tax dollars there. And so if we can improve internal controls at federal agencies and in the programs that are supported by federal agencies, which is why we have single audits, which is why I love what I do every day, teaching people how to identify non-compliance and look for internal control weaknesses so that we can improve, right? We can do a better job. So that's just a wrap on our most recent update from the GAO on our improper payments for fiscal year 2023.